Hello students, in this lecture I will discuss solar cell. This is in unit 6 of Industrial Electronics 2 of your course. You must know what is the cause behind the development of solar cell. As you know, worldwide energy demand increases day by day or increasing day by day. So, conventional energy sources like fossil fuel, petroleum, coal will be exhausted or finished in the not too distant future. Therefore, what we can do? We must develop and use alternative energy resources like sun. That is the way was found out to convert the sunlight into electricity. And the device used for this purpose of converting light into electricity is known as a solar cell. What is a solar cell? It is an electrical device which converts light energy, that is solar radiation, into electrical energy. This phenomena is known as the photovoltaic effect, which was first observed by a French physicist, Edmond Becquerel, in 1839. For this reason, photovoltaic effect was also known as Becquerel effect. Though in the past, various attempts have been made to develop solar cell, that is, many have tried to fabricate solar cell. In the year 1954, Chaplin, Fuller and Pearson developed solar cell. You must know all these things as a brief history who developed it, though numerous names can come here, though I have put some of them here. So in 1954, Chaplin, Fuller and Pearson developed solar cell using diffused silicon PN junction. Subsequently, that is after that, the cadmium sulfide solar cell was developed by Reynolds and his group, that is Reynolds et al. Afterwards, various other configurations employing single crystalline, polycrystalline and even amorphous semiconductor structures have been developed. Now you know that what is basically a solar cell. Now, what are its applications in our day-to-day life, or where we can apply it, use it? Some applications of solar cell you can see here: solar water heating system, solar pumping stations, solar drying in agriculture, solar furnaces, solar electric power generator, solar battery charger, inverter, space vehicles like satellites, telescope. Apart from all these things, we also use like solar calculator, solar torches, solar battery charger, and so many applications are there. Classification of solar cell. Solar cell can be classified widely or broadly depending on the technology based on which it has been fabricated. The first one is the first generation solar cell. You can see here is the first generation solar cell based on silicon wafer. It can be subdivided into two types: monocrystalline solar cell and polycrystalline solar cell. The second one is the second generation solar cell, also called thin film solar cells. That is, apart from using bulk semiconductors, they used thin film, and they can also be widely classified as amorphous silicon solar cells, or in the second one is different types of other compound semiconductors, ternary semiconductors, quaternary semiconductors are also used to develop thin film solar cell. Some names are given here: cadmium telluride solar cell, cadmium sulfide, copper indium diselenide, then copper indium gallium diselenide, etc. And others, so many are here, zinc sulfide, then silver sulfide. All these can be used to develop thin film solar cells. Third one is the third generation solar cell. It is a newly emerging technology. There are so many technologies are here. Some are put down here. Number one is the nanostructured solar cell. Second one is the polymer based solar cell. Third one is the perovskite based dye sensitized solar cells, etc. So many are here, depending on the materials used or depending upon the structures used to develop the solar cell. The classifications have been made. I suggest you to write all these classifications on your copy. Here in this figure you can see the top view of a solar cell. You can see the white lines here. The white lines are the metal contacts. Generally the metal used depending on the work function, that is using the metal. As you know, metal contacts can be of two types: ohmic contact and rectifying contact, and here we have to develop ohmic contact. So different metals are used. For example, one can use aluminium for establishing the metal contact. So here you can see the top view of a solar cell. Below this you can see a solar cell. Then it is a solar cell. Then a number of solar cells connected together form a solar module. Say for example, from a single solar cell we can get few volts, and if we want to get more amount of voltage, okay, then what can be done? Then a number of cells, solar cells, can be connected together to form a module. And even if the power or the wattage we require is even more, then what we have to do? Then we have to connect a number of solar modules together to form a solar array. Okay, in the market all these are available or can be commercially fabricated depending on the need or requirement. Here in this lecture I will describe the working of PN junction solar cell, which is a first generation solar cell, and it is one of the simplest form of a solar cell. And here you can see in this figure that the structure is consisted of N plus layer. You can see this one, it is N plus layer and it is a P layer. N plus means this N type semiconductor is heavily doped, and P region is P type semiconductor. Essentially they are made up of silicon, and P type semiconductor is moderately or comparatively lightly doped than N plus region. If you remember the structure of a PN junction diode, then you can recall that in case of a PN junction diode, there was a PN junction, and which is also present here because there are two regions P and N, so there must be obviously a PN junction, a boundary line between the P and N plus regions. And what we have across this PN junction is a depletion layer. That is, you can see here, it is actually a depletion layer or region. It is also called transition region. Now, across the junction in the depletion layer is so called because it is depleted of mobile charges. Then what is inside this depletion region is the immobile charges. All the charges you can see here, positive and negative charges, or all are immobile, that is, they cannot move. Now, in this figure you can see from the top side, from the surface, solar irradiation is given. That is, solar ray is incident on the surface of the N plus layer. You can see here, you have to note that here these black dots or black square type contacts are actually the metal contacts. And why they actually look so? Because they are actually finger like contacts. Okay, their shape is like finger of our hand. Now they can be also grid like. Now a question may come in your mind, that is, why we are not covering the whole surface with the metal like this one. Here we have covered the whole surface with the metal, but here we have kept some gaps between the contacts. Why it is so? The answer is, if the whole surface above the N plus region would be completely or fully covered, then the solar radiation or sunlight falling on the surface will not be able to get absorbed, and so far there will be less conversion of sunlight into electricity. Another important point is the thickness of the N plus region. This N plus region should be thin than that of the P region. Why? Because if the N plus region would be thick or thicker in comparison to P region, then the sun rays incident on the surface of the N plus region will not be able to penetrate through the N plus region and reach the PN junction into the depletion layer. Okay, so these are the two main factors that you have to keep in mind while drawing the structure or construction of a PN junction solar cell. Now, in this figure, in the right side, top right side, you can see it is actually the circuit symbol of a solar cell. Sometimes we also draw a PN junction diode's circuit symbol, and with two arrows coming inward, which indicates, as shown here, as you can see here, two arrows are coming inward. That means the light that will be sensed and will be converted into electricity. So this is the circuit symbol of a solar cell. Now in this figure you can see that shorter wavelength, medium wavelength and longer wavelength of the solar radiation are labeled. Okay, what do you mean by all these three wavelengths? Shorter wavelength means the wavelength of the, as you know, solar radiation is consisted of different wavelengths of radiations, that is different frequencies. Okay, and the wavelength, if the wavelength is larger, then obviously the frequency is smaller, because frequency and wavelength are inversely proportional to each other, you know. Now for shorter wavelength, you can see here, it is the shorter wavelength. Okay, then you can see the medium wavelength, then you can see the longer wavelength. Now which wavelength will be able to penetrate deeper into the solar cell structure? The answer is longer wavelength obviously will be able to penetrate deeper into the solar cell structure, whereas medium wavelength and shorter wavelength are not able to go very deep into the PN junction solar cell structure. Now the waves which are reaching the depletion layer will generate the electron hole pairs in the depletion layer. Now as you know, in the depletion layer, initially when the light was not illuminated on the solar cell, even in that condition also you can note that the cell is actually consisted of positive and negative ions. That means one side is positively charged and the other side is negatively charged. That means, as you know, if there are opposite type of charges exist, then obviously there is an electric field. An electric field actually works as a force for the generated electron hole pairs. So due to the irradiation, solar irradiation, the generated electron hole pairs will be separated and the electrons will move. As you can see in this figure, the red arrow is showing that the electrons are moving towards the N plus region, and the green arrow is showing that the holes are moving towards the P region. Okay, so the generated electron hole pairs inside the depletion region are moving towards the N plus and P regions respectively. Now, due to the movement of the electrons and holes in the opposite direction, the surface of the N plus region will be negatively charged, and the surface of the you can see this is the metal contact. So here this will be positively charged. So opposite charges are existing on the N plus region and the P region. Due to this generated charges, generated polarity, there will be, if there will be no load connected in the external circuit, as you can see here, that here it is an open circuit condition, no load has been connected yet. So at this condition, if we measure the voltage, that will be the open circuit voltage, VOC, V with a suffix or with a subscript OC, open circuit voltage. Okay. Now in this figure you can see the structure is same, the process of generation of electron hole pairs is also same, but here the external circuit has been shorted together. So a current is flowing through the external circuit from the P region to the N region, from the anode to cathode, and this current is actually ISC, that is short circuit current. Now in this figure you can see the structure of the solar cell is still same, but a load has been connected in the external circuit. or externally to the solar cell. What will happen? But observe, in all these three figures, no external bias voltage has been applied. That is, due to the application of the solar radiation or sunlight, due to the incident sunlight, there is a voltage developed across the load. That is, here you can see in this figure, the yellow arrows are indicating the flow of the photocurrent. That is the current generated due to the solar radiation. Another current which is flowing just in the opposite direction, it is actually the forward diode current, as you have seen in case of a simple PN junction diode. Now these two currents are flowing in the external circuit in the opposite direction. Photocurrent is flowing from P to N, anode to cathode, and the forward current is flowing from N to P, cathode to anode. You can draw this picture on your copy. One more thing I would like to mention, that is, for the longer wavelengths also there will be a generation of electron hole pairs, and that generation will take place in the P region, not in the depletion region, and that will also create electron hole pairs, and those electron hole pairs will also be separated by the electric field, and they will also be accumulated on the surface of the N plus region, that is, electrons on the surface of the N plus region, and the holes, that is positive carriers, on the surface of the P region. Okay. Now due to this, there will be a potential, okay, there will be a voltage developed across the solar cell, okay, and that due to the applied voltage there will be a current that is serving the load, keeping the load on. Say for example, if we connect a bulb, a light, an AC bulb of small wattage, then what will happen? The bulb will start to glow because there will be a photo generated current. Okay, so this is actually the working of a PN junction solar cell. Now let us summarize the whole process. The first point you can see here, that is the pattern finger like or grid type of the metal contacts on the N-type silicon. That is the pattern, the shape is finger like or square grid like. Particularly this type of metal contacts, that is particularly finger like shape or grid like shape. And also you can see here, the thickness of the N-type layer should be thin, such that is so as to ensure the reaching of maximum number of photons. Photons means light particles to the PN junction. That is, more the amount of sunlight will be absorbed by the surface, more will be the generated electron hole pairs, and obviously more will be the generated power. Moreover, as I already told you that in solar radiation there are different types of wavelengths are present. So the depth of the penetration of the solar radiation also depends on the wavelength of the light. See the second point, when the sunlight is incident, that is falls on the upper surface of the N-type silicon, it gets absorbed. The photons reach the depletion region. I have already told you. These photons collide with the valence electrons of the silicon atoms, and impart sufficient kinetic energy to the electrons so that the valence electrons leave the parent atoms of the silicon by breaking the covalent bonds and thereby generate electron hole pairs there in the depletion region. The electric field across the p-n junction made or compels the electron hole pairs get separated. The electrons are accelerated, that is, they are bound to move towards the n side, that is the n type region, and the holes are accelerated towards the p side. This means there is now a potential, a voltage develops across the p and n regions in absence of any external bias voltage. This potential is called the open circuit voltage. In short, we call it VOC. See the third point. If the anode and the cathode are connected together, that is, if these two terminals of the solar cell are shorted together, then a short circuit current will flow through the external circuit, as I already told you. Now, for longer wavelengths of the incident solar radiation, the electron hole pairs are also generated in the p region. The newly generated electrons are minority carriers in the p side and they move across the p-n junction with no externally applied bias voltage across the device. Similarly, the holes in the n side are the minority carriers and they also move across the junction in opposite direction to that of the electrons in the p side. Thereby the electrons and holes are separated under the electric field across the junction. Thus, there is an increase in the minority carrier flow which is opposite to the conventional forward current of a p-n junction diode. Now, as I already told you, if a load is connected in series with the solar cell, say for example we are connecting a light, a bulb, a fan, then there will be a current flow in the external circuit through the load. Thereby, there will be a voltage across the load will be developed. Okay. So, this is the summarized overall mechanism that actually takes place in the working of a solar cell, specifically for p-n junction solar cell. You can write down all the points on your copy. In this figure, you can clearly see the overall structure and performance of a solar cell. In this figure, you can see that at the top of the N plus region, that is N type silicon region, there is a glass coating. Above the glass layer, there is a blue coating on the top surface. It is actually an anti-reflection coating made so that maximum amount of sunlight gets absorbed and no sunlight or solar radiation gets reflected back to the atmosphere without being absorbed. And apart from this, you can also see the finger-like metallic conducting strips or metal contacts. That is this one. This can be more in number. So they are like fingers. So for they are called finger-like contacts. The anti-reflection coatings are generally tin oxide or indium tin oxide coatings on the surface of the solar cell. So up to this, I hope you understood what is a solar cell. You also know about its applications in different areas and most importantly about its working principle. In my next lecture, I will tell you about different important parameters of solar cell and also about an example of solar cells application. Okay? Thank you.